When is it smart to no sell something in a match, and when is it inexcusable?
That's one of those questions with so many gray areas, like, I don't know, are we in Japan? Is it strong style? Are you fighting, you know, Antonio Inoki and not selling, um, if you guys want a laugh, and it's not funny, but it is kind of funny. An example of picking a bad time to sell or to not sell. Google Antonio Inoki versus the great Antonio. And it's a match where Antonio Inoki, the legend, of Japan, takes on this guy. I think he was Canadian. I think he was like a Canadian strongman. But from all accounts, from all historians and everything, he was a bit of a character, on the streets of Canada. He would do strongman stuff for money or something. I've heard it said that, there's possibly a bit of a mental health element to it, possibly. But he's in the ring with Antonio Inoki. And, Antonio Inoki he's the man in Japan, And the great Antonio bends Inoki over and goes to give him a forearm to the back. But instead of catching him across the wide of the back, catches him on the neck. And in pro wrestling, that's a big no-no. Dude, don't hit me on the neck. And you're only going to do that to a vet one time where you bend him over and he gives you his back to give him a forearm across the back. And you hit that neck, you're not gonna get that chance again. Because depending on how much that veteran likes you or that person you're working with, that's a mistake that you shouldn't be making.
Is this where the receipts come in?
Possibly, if it's like, hey, sorry about that, brother. Hey, man, sorry about that. When you're okay, then maybe you're all right. But in this case, the great Antonio did it again,
Oh no.
and then he did it again.
Mm.
And at that point, Antonio Inoki had had enough, and he proceeds to punch and kick the great Antonio, and pretty much just kicks his ass. Um, so when you're approaching wrestling psychology, in Japan they have what they call strong style, where guys will hit really hard, big chop, big move, and the guy will completely no sell it. And no selling meaning not give any reaction at all to something that should hurt.
And
Um,
I want to interject real quick, Pete. We have ghetto strong style shirts for sale.
yes, ghetto strong style. Yeah, you guys don't know about New Japan MVP. It was a little different from WWE MVP. Yeah, and I was always a big fan of strong style. And when I went over there, I decided we're gonna do a little ghetto strong style. Ghetto. Um, and they are still available. You can buy them. Um, but yeah, in the Japanese psychology to wrestling, there are moments where, as the heroes firing up, or the two wrestlers could just be having a big exchange, and they'll go back and forth with big heavy shots, and neither one of them will sell that it hurt. Or maybe one might, kind of register it a little bit and then come back with a big shot of his own or her. The ladies, the Joshis are sick, scary how good some of the women in Japan are, and the physicality that they put each other through. Like, they make some of the guys here, they should quit, like, comparison.
Wow.
Manami Toyota, all-time favorite, shout out. But in American wrestling, we're simulating combat in the American style. So if I throw a punch and you don't sell my punch where it hurt, then you're making me look bad. Ultimately making both of us look bad. But there were certain wrestlers through the years that their character was such that they could endure a lot of pain or punishment. So it was okay for those characters to no sell your punch or your move. For example, The Undertaker. Now, The Undertaker sells, and you get on him, you have to stay on him, and, he'll sell. But there are times when you give The Undertaker a punch and he eats it and just, looks at you menacingly.
He's dead.
Yeah. The big monsters, Kane, through the years, Mark Henry, there are times you hit Mark Henry with something, Big Show, certain guys. And in our industry, we've had, something called the Hulk up, where, as this babyface is starting to prepare for his big comeback. He's taking shots, but he's not selling them, and he's hulking up, and the fans are coming behind it. And
Made famous by Hogan Hulk.
I'm gonna bite my tongue on that one today. But so there are moments traditionally in wrestling when no selling is accepted, sometimes expected. But it doesn't work the other way around a lot of the times. If you're in there with The Undertaker, you don't no sell The Undertaker.
No, okay, understood.
Or that next punch will be real. And Taker said himself, man, one day we were laughing about it. He said, just schooling us, he's like, I can make the lights go on and off. I can make it thunder. I can teleport. But if I throw a punch and you don't sell it, all that shit don't mean nothing. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Taker throw a punch. Yeah, I hate that punch. You ain't gonna be back on TV again. And plus whatever Taker does to you in the moment, because like that next round will be live. You'll sell the next one, So there are moments in traditional wrestling where a babyface is making a comeback and he'll no sell some shots. If it's the finish and your job, you're being paid to lose to this other person, and they're supposed to beat you clean, and it's 1, 2, 3, and on the 3, you take their finish, and then you get up and walk away like nothing happened. That's inexcusable. That's just disrespectful. You're just being a bad professional at that point, because your feelings are hurt. So you don't want to diminish someone else's finish. Something that was real popular, you used to see a lot in the 80s where, we still today sometimes, you see guys kick out right after the 3. They'll take the finish and 1, 2, and right at 3, boom, then they kick out. Like, oh, they just missed it, Way to kind of protect themselves a little bit. And, most of the time that's acceptable as well. Unless, you just took a tombstone pile driver. Then no, bitch, don't kick out at 3. Don't kick out after 3. Just stay there and punch it.